Awesome day to you, awesome people, and welcome to another week of What's Your Story, where we share, empower, heal, and inspire. I hope you're having an awesome week so far. I hope it gets even more awesome for you guys. Again, thank you all for joining us for your midweek awesomeness, whether you're catching us on Facebook or YouTube. Hit the like, share, comment, notify, all of that good stuff. Show some love to the Say Something Facebook page. Show your girl some love. But show some love. Show some love to anybody because that's, it's needed. But again, I do thank you all for joining us for your midweek awesomeness. Have another awesome guest, of course. But before we get into that, just to let you know, What's Your Story is brought to you by Say Something, which is an online store where you can find custom apparel for inspiration and elevation, such as the Okosi brand, right? Exclusively at Say Something. So you check that out at saysomething.company.site. And it's also brought to you by Kids Love Money, which is a book series that teaches children financial literacy one concept at a time. So you can check that out. Their books, their flashcards, they're on the kidslovemoney.shop site. Again, kidslovemoney.shop site. Speaking of Kids Love Money, I will be doing a presentation this week, this Saturday. I'm partnering with Dr. Deborah, who has Healing and Empowerment Ministries. So you can check that out live Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on her page, on her Healing and Empowerment Ministries page, and also Dr. Deborah's Nonprofit Solutions page. And for the first 20 families, giving away free books. Of course, I'm giving away money. Hey, we're going to learn and earn. So have that in mind. Bring the children because it's for the kids. I mean, I guess, I'm not going to say I guess. I know that an adult can learn something also. So, hey, if you want to come, that's fine. But the money is for the kids. So, and no cheating. But anyway, before I get into my awesome guest, I want you guys to hold tight. We'll be right back with you. Welcome back, good people. And thank you again for joining us on What's Your Story, where we share, empower, heal, and inspire. Again, I never told you my name in case you didn't know. My name is Shenrika. I am your host or hostess with the mostest. However, I am she, bringing you What's Your Story every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes it may change because, we have technical difficulties. We have to get on each other's schedules. So, people I bring on, they're very, very busy, but they're very awesome people. And I appreciate them so much for taking the time to join us and share their awesomeness with you all who are watching now or later. But without further ado, let me bring on this awesome guest. She is the vibe curator. She's a conversation curator. She is the founder, creator of Dear Men. She is the beautiful Amina Okosi. Awesome day to you, beautiful.
Hey!
How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I am great. I'm grateful that you're joining me. And I thank you so much. And her lighting makes my lighting look horrible. But don't mind that because we ain't here for that. But I'm so thankful for you joining us. Like I said, to share your awesomeness with us. And What's Your Story is just where you share, who you are, what you do, how you got to this point, just little, share something about yourself so people, and also check her out. That's her information. On IG, she's at the Dear Men blog. She is a blogger. She's at Dear Men Let's Vibe, which we'll talk about this in a minute, but that's her website if you want to connect with her or purchase the cards or, collaborate and all of that good stuff. But okay, I'm be quiet now. So me to let the people know what's your story.
Yeah, so I'm Amina Okosi. I'm originally from Chicago, and I have been a resident of DC for quite some time because I moved here to go to college, and I just kind of was one of those people that stayed. I became an implant, and just stayed.
Hmm.
So I've been in DC for pretty much half my life, like off and on. But I yeah, I'm a writer. I am what I would like to call a vibe curator or a conversation curator because I'm the person that likes to get people together to have, reflective conversations for both men and women. And so, what started me to doing that, to writing and to starting the blog and all of that was basically me coming out of my 20s into my 30s
Hmm.
and feeling like I was having a really difficult time in dating, and feeling like all of my friends around me were also having a really difficult time. And I was trying to pinpoint it, right? Because we are, on the more seasoned spectrum of the millennial group, but at the
Hmm.
time we were still like relatively young in the midst of the whole social media era and trying to figure out why there was like such a shift in the dynamic between men and women, like what was happening, right?
Right.
So I was like observing this massive change where there was just like a lack of like effective communication, where people really weren't connecting in a real way. And I don't know. I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to explore it. So I started blogging about it. And I started
Mhm.
blogging about my experience. I started blogging about the experiences of people that I was seeing around me, like by observing the world. And then I also started taking a look at what was happening in the culture and what was happening on TV. And I started writing little things about my perspective on all of those things. So that's pretty much how I got my start.
Okay. And so with the blog, it was just like what does that entail? I
So
guess.
the blog was really just something that was kind of cathartic, right? And it's pretty much just my perspective on male female relationships, whether it's in romance or whether it's like familial. Like there's articles about my daddy issues, you know what I mean? And how I feel like a lot of the issues that I was having in relationships were kind of a manifestation of my relationship with my dad. There are, different articles about me being a full figure woman and the impacts of being full figured and how that uh, influenced a lot of my relationships, or like, you know what I mean, like how I perceived my relationships as a full figure woman, whatever chip on my shoulder I felt I had. It's just a lot of different articles, a lot of different perspectives, and it ranges from the time that I was about 30 to now, you know what I mean? And so it's pretty much been like 5 years of me just like talking about stuff.
Okay. Cool. 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 So and then came the cards,
Yeah, yeah.
which are
So
awesome.
what happened was, so I was doing the blog, and then I decided to kind of do like a live version of the blog, which was um, create atmospheres or spaces where we could have conversations about a lot of the things that I was blogging about. And I wanted to invite men to the fold because I felt like that was also at a time where a lot of women were having a lot of curated events. It was kind of at the start of when women were having all of these really amazing curated events. You know what I mean? And like
Hmm.
we were like calling all our girls to come to these events. It would be like it started to be like an echo chamber of like women
Hmm.
talking about certain things and like us only hearing a female perspective, right? And I wanted to kind of change it a little bit and like see how I could like add to the space, but do something that was kind of not being done. And at the time, there weren't too many spaces where men and women were able to come together and have introspective conversations. So I started the Dear Men discussion series. That was back in 2018. And it started in DC with a group of like 5 men, 5 women, and it was a great event. Like we had food, we had drinks, we had real conversation, and that kind of turned into me hopping around to different cities. So I went to Chicago, I went to LA, and I hosted these talks where, like, people were able to kind of vibe out, but then still able to kind of like get their perspectives off,
Right.
in a safe environment.
And yes.
And there were a lot of men that felt like they didn't have an opportunity to really be vulnerable in front of women in a real way. And so it was kind of like providing that space for them where women had to listen, but
Mhm.
then also humanizing women in a way for them that maybe they hadn't had to do before. So
Right.
from that, we ended up going into COVID. And so I wasn't able to do
Mm.
the live shows. I had my last live show in, I want to say, October of 2019.
Mhm.
I did one really, really small intimate event in 2020 in November, but I had to be like, you know, super responsible, no more than 5 people, you know what I mean? And so,
Yes.
and it was all women. But the last co-ed event that I had was October of 2019, right before Howard Homecoming. And so during COVID, I started thinking about ways to still create that experience for
Mhm.
people, but in a way that was like they could kind of have control of their environment. And so that's how I came up with the game cards.
Wow. And they are awesome. I actually had the pleasure of playing the game before they hit the market, and it was a super fun, and not just fun. It was, it was and it does create a vibe, a safe environment for you just to be yourself and not worry about, well, what this person gonna think, or what
Yeah.
that person is gonna say about it. So it was a great experience, and to be able to play it. So I do suggest that you all, check up website, get you some of these cards, because they're great. Especially if you're having a party, you're having friends over.
Yeah.
That's something that you all can do. That's still fun, but at the same time, it brings about a real conversation,
Yeah.
real stuff. But let's talk. And I know you mentioned to me that you were in the process of upgrading, or revamping the cars, doing some other things to them. But what can they expect to find in this?
So they can expect to find 3 decks, right? And the concept around doing 3 decks is I wanted to give people an opportunity to choose and curate their own vibe, right? So like Amina, the vibe curator, is always going to think about a shift in energy and how energy will change in the room, right? And
Right.
so there is a drinking deck. It can be, you can drink whatever you want, whether it's water or whether it's alcohol, but there's a drinking deck, which is really just fun. And then there's the introspection deck. And that deck is for when you want to go a little bit below the surface, right? You want to dig a little deeper beneath the surface. And then we have the Black Culture Quiz. And again, that's just for fun, right? Like, how much do you know about Black culture? Like, how much do you know about like the little one-liners in certain movies or our favorite TV shows or things like that? And so, um, conceptually, you can play all 3 decks simultaneously, or you
Right.
could choose which deck, which one, or which two you want to play from, just based on who you're with or like what's going on, right? If you're in a more intimate setting and it's just you and a lover, you might want to get that introspective deck off. But if it's in more of a group setting, you might want to go Black Culture Quiz drinking deck. So
Right.
it's really up to you to kind of curate your own vibe, and it allows you to kind of be your own host as well, right? So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, since we are talking about the game, so I know you know the answers to it, but I'm still gonna pull a card from each deck, and so the people can see, kind of what's going on inside of it. I mean, I know you gave the explanation. Thank you, brother. He said innovative. Oh, let me put this on here. She is, and the cars are awesome. Um, but just to kind of get them a little, you know,
Yeah.
idea. And okay, so the first card is uh, that's a question. Well, I don't know. I should have just chose a card and stopped looking at them. That's what I get. That's what I get trying to pick. So I should have just chose a card like the game is supposed to go. Anyway, okay. So we're gonna start with Black culture quiz. All right. What is the first question that Ron Isley asked Shantae Moore upon entering his home in the classic song "Contagious"? Look, that's what I settled on. Sorry.
What the hell is going on between the sheets in my home?
Baby, wait, let me explain. Listen, you got to oh Lord, I done dropped the cards up here
Yes.
playing around.
And then the whole room goes into song.
Right, everybody just starts, yeah, see that same effect. You know what I'm saying? We just start. okay, that was cool. I like that. And I didn't even read it. I just kept going through again. Okay. Next card, we're gonna go with introspection deck.
Okay.
And what is the biggest deal breaker in a relationship and why?
We both got to answer this.
Uh-uh. I'm the host. I'm the host.
Okay.
Host.
The biggest deal breaker in a relationship for me is abuse. Abuse is a deal breaker. Like that's physical, emotional, like verbal, like abuse is just a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. Well, and I would have to agree with that also because abuse. I mean, my thing is, honesty. I'm big on honesty, and so if I feel like you can't be honest with me, then in a sense, it is abuse.
Yeah.
Because
manipulation, like all of that. Yeah.
Well, lie, I cheat.
Lie.
But anyway, okay. All right, so now we're gonna go to the drink deck.
Uh-oh.
We ain't drinking that. Well,
I was like, it's too early now. Like,
well, somewhere it's 5 o'clock.
You can drink for non-drinkers. You can drink anything, water, tea, whatever. If you are a drinker, you could do shots. You could take a sip of a drink. It's really up to you. But I've seen this play out in a large. I hosted a game night in DC. It was.
I think you muted. Oh, there you go.
I hosted one in Chicago as well, and it was like 6 people. And like the game still rings off, like it rings off, like big group, small group. And then of course I did one with the person that I'm dating. It was just me and him. And it was still a vibe. But anyway, right. and the person that I'm dating doesn't drink, so but it was still a vibe.
Right. Well, we did wine when we did it.
We did wine. We did.
So I mean, it's whatever you want to drink. But this one, let's see. Oh my God. Listen, I ain't gonna say it. Yeah, pretty much. From the drinking game, take a drink if you've ever lied about the death of a family member to get out of a situation. And I know so many people that have
take a drink.
I ain't go. Well, they weren't dead, but they was sick or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They was sick.
I was in college. I was so immature, and I missed an exam, and I lied. It said somebody in my family died in order to be able to get a retake.
Hey, well, that's kind of like that's a real serious situation there. So you need to be able to take that over. But yeah, guys, that's some of the cards that are in the deck, in the 3 decks actually, of the game. Dear man's let's ride. Why do I keep going to the side? I don't know. I'm all off. Bless it. But yeah, then I know that you said that you went to school, so you've been in DC since since college. You're originally from
Chicago.
Chicago, so you were born here.
I was born in Chicago, and I lived there up until I was 17, and then I came to DC to go to Howard. So,
And how was that experience? Did that help shape you into, the dear man and who you are?
100%. Howard played such an integral role in who I became in the world because, um, you're at a school with like all these black kids, but they're different types of black kids. Like what I knew was how Chicago youth was, and then I
Right.
came here and I was exposed to 50 states, kids from all 50 states. But there's also over, I want to say, 100 countries represented at that school too, right? So,
Hmm.
um, how are the youth in Trinidad? You know what I mean? Like, how are the youth in Nigeria? How are the youth in Jamaica? Like, how do they think? And we were all just kind of in this hodgepodge together. And so we were exposed to each other's cultures. We were
Hmm.
exposed to each other's food. We were exposed to each other's lingo. You know what I mean? And all of that influenced how I felt about Black people, right? Because when you're not around a whole bunch of different Black people, you have
Hmm.
a very limited scope about what you all are,
Right.
and then when you're exposed to a lot of Black people and intelligent Black people, we're all at school we're going after the same mission, which is to
Yeah.
get a degree, to make something of ourselves. And so it's revolutionary when you think about it. Just the whole idea of an HBCU is so revolutionary because it's the only time in life where you'll ever really get a chance to be exposed to that type of excellence and progressiveness, and and it changes the way you view Black people.
Right.
You can't help but to change. Like, wow, oh, so we're actually really dope, like everything that the world told us we're actually not, because I'm looking at this boy from Ghana right now, and he's cool, he's funny, like, so yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's so awesome. I mean, I didn't go to an HCB. Well, historical HBCU.
HBCU, yeah.
Listen, I have to say it out in my mind. Say it, and then but I wasn't. I didn't attend one, but my sister did. So I did get some of the experience, and it is a vibe within itself because you see all of us from different backgrounds, different parts of the world, and like you said, this excellence. It is an excellence, and so I mean, it's a vibe within
And
itself.
it's something that you'll always be connected to these people through, right?
Mhm.
Like, I had my 10 year a few years ago, and there was even certain people that like I wasn't super close to during undergrad, but we saw each other 10 years later, and it was like, yo, like it was just like, oh man, like we're connected. We'll always
Yeah,
forever be connected through that experience. By having the same alma mater, there's an immediate respect that we'll have for one another, an admiration that we have for one another, and a level of support that we'll
yeah, oh
always
yeah.
have for one another. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I don't know if I would have gotten that anywhere else.
Yeah, I doubt it. Because I went elsewhere,
Yeah,
and um,
yeah. It's like,
it's not this, it ain't the same. It
yeah,
ain't
it's
the
like
same. I
who
shall
cares
say
about
that.
them people? What? Who cares about that school? Yeah.
But yeah, so did you go to school for writing? Because I know you do write. You're all
No,
right.
no. So I went to school to be. I went to school. My degrees in psychology.
Wow,
I initially
not
wanted to be a
surprising.
social worker. I initially wanted to be a social worker. And then I had like a number of experiences that kind of changed my mind. I lived in Ghana for like a really brief stint, and I was
Wow.
doing some work with an NGO, and it was amazing. But at the same time, I was like, broke, and like the work was like really, really, really challenging emotionally. It was very taxing. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this professionally. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love this idea of like, helping people, but it was just a lot at that time for me. So I went in a totally different direction. Um and like was kind of more focused on sales, and operations and things like that. And so that's kind of like where I've been for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I still get to use the psychology when I'm doing the Dear Men work, which is dope.
Yeah. And that's why I say it's not surprising because, it's getting to that, like it's connection, it's
Yeah,
really getting down into the deep of it and not just,
it is.
the surface.
It
So,
is doing it in a way that, to me, is doing it in a way. I feel like we need it done in a way that's like more relatable to us and our experience, as Black people. I think that there are a lot of cards on the market where it's like, and no diss to those cards, because anybody who decides to create something is dope for creating something, right? But like,
right,
there are a lot of cars out there that I'm just like, I don't connect to this for real, And so
yeah,
I wanted to create something that I felt like we, as Black men and Black women, could connect to, that humanizes us to one another, but that allows us to, like, when is the last time you just had a belly aching laugh with a Black man? You know what I'm
right,
saying? That's important to
yeah,
me. Like, for us to be able to laugh with each other, joke with each other, but then still be able to get deep enough with each other and be vulnerable with each other.
right. And I think with COVID, it actually proved, in a lot of households that, the conversation or the communication was, missing. It was missing
Yeah,
instead of, us, I guess you say, thriving. We were kind of like just surviving, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So it slowed, it did slow everything down. And, I know
A
a
lot
lot
of
of people,
people learned that they weren't friends during that
right,
time. Like, oh, we're
exactly,
not really
exactly,
friends. Like, we've been lovers and we've been in a relationship, but we're not really friends.
exactly. So, and this would have also been, I don't know, you may have done it, did like some virtual settings, or with people that had the cars, and you just kind of everybody in their own, because I think too, when you can't be in a space together, people are in different, say they're home there, I guess they're a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but that's an idea. That's definitely an idea.
Yeah, to have like virtual, these virtual game nights, I guess you would
Yeah,
call it,
yeah,
and just everybody connect, and they can have the cars themselves. Well, yeah, they do need the cars, like, to, or you just have a host, and the host
yeah,
asks the question and everybody just participate. That's an
yeah,
awesome idea. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm there for that. Let me know when you
Okay.
do. But we coming up on 30 minutes, so we gonna wrap this thing up, because I value your time. I know you busy, and
Yeah.
I know people got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. So hey, but what would you say to any words for anybody? You know,
Um, I really think that there is room for us to like learn to love one another better and like more authentically. And my mission and my goal for the last several years has been, no matter what your sexual orientation is, there's still room for men and women to learn to love and respect each other better and differently, especially within our community.
oh
And so I want us to really try to make space for each other's feelings and make space for each other's unique journeys and have empathy for one another. And so I'm going to continue to try to create spaces and resources and opportunities for us to do that.
all right, all right. And again, y'all, her information is at the bottom. So if you want to check out the cards, get you some, and if you want to connect with her, collaborate, all of that good stuff, then reach out to her. She is an awesome person. And Mina, I appreciate you again I thank you for creating the cards, and I thank you for the opportunity to even get to play them before they hit the market. And I look forward to the next
Yes.
put an S on it, to
I
come.
appreciate you. I appreciate you so much.
All right, but I'm going to put you in the back for a second, and I'll be right back with you, okay?
Okay,
All
cool.
right, thank you. All right, also people, well, that's our show. Good morning to those who spoke, and peace, love, and prosperity, all of that good stuff to you. Sorry I didn't acknowledge you throughout the show, but thank you for joining us. I appreciate you so much. You could have been anywhere or looking at anything at this time, but you decided to watch this program or podcast or however you want to name it. But again, that was my awesome guest. As always, check us out for your midweek awesomeness. Thank you. Hit the like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. Thank you for joining us on What's Your Story, where we share, empower, heal, and inspire. Again, my name is Shenrika, and you all have an awesome rest of your week.